Right, welcome back to the channel. Following on from the last episode, finally we're at the episode where this will be going back in the frame. Again, lots to get through. I will speed some of that up, but first of all I need to actually strip all the parts off the Z650, all the mock-up parts that we put in loosely just to see how things look. Everything's got to come off, so I'm back down to a frame. I can then take that off the ABBA stand, get this engine down on the ground and then lay the frame over. So I need to get all the engine bolts and the brackets that have all been painted, so I'll lay them up on the bench in a second. I've got space in the far corner here, so the front wheel's up there already. I'll put the rear wheel up in a second. But it'll be so nice to see this back in a frame. It's been a long time, but worth every second. Right, nothing has changed. I say paintwork I haven't got a chance to get to yet, so that's going to come off and be left to one side. Obviously I can strip all the rear wheel out. I say that will go up on the bench. All the front end, I say it's all loose fit, that all needs to come out so that I'm purely just left with a frame. I say a lot of this I'll speed up, but I'll try and get as much of that off as sitting in that corner. I say it has been a while before we've actually got to this stage. Still a long way to go, still lots more to do, but seeing that engine back in the painted frame will be really nice rather than this gaping gap. So let's crack on. Right, so as I said, first of all let's start with front end. Unbolt all this down, leave it in the corner. So I'm just going to get some tools, get the mudguard off and just move it to one side. So as you can see, the bench is loading up nicely. That's the front end done. Now I'm going to spin it round, just take off the bodywork quickly, and then we'll concentrate on the rear end. Right, and that is it, back to a frame. Obviously I can't take the swing arm out because obviously the way I've mounted the ABBA stand, it's actually holding on the actual swing arm pivot bolt. Now I just have a bench full of parts. So next job I need to do is get this off the arbor stand and then put it back on the, unfortunately the stand it was on originally, because it's easier to get the actual, once the engine's in, it's easier to lift it back onto that flat surface and then pump that up. But I'm sure I'll bring the arbor stand back in at a later date. Right, so that's the arbor stand apart. That is one of the beauties of it, it does come apart. So I can store that. Frame down on the floor, I just need to bring in the, unfortunately it's buried back there. Weather's not too good, so everything's inside. Obviously Booster and the Z650 project all inside. That's the stand I need to pull out. Right, engine's on the floor. That was fun trying to get that size engine off the bench by myself, but got it down. So next job is, well, luckily the frame is a lot lighter than the actual engine. I've just supported, I've got one of the old engine cases on the generator cover. So I've just supported it with some blocks. There's two there, one at the back, and it's actually resting on the generator cover. So next job is slide the frame over the engine and start getting some bolts in place. Alright, so let's have a go, see how we get on. Side. Alright, so let's try that again. I actually had the engine facing the wrong way because one of the mounting brackets is actually attached to the frame, which means it doesn't fit over. So it has to go this way. Alright, so they're almost in position. Got one here, and that tab there. So the next thing is get some bolts. I'll get bolt through this one at least. Right, so I've managed to get this one all the way through, so I just need to get a nut on the back of that one, and I've also managed to get that one through. Again, just need a nut on the back of that one. Right, also I seem to be obviously missing more bolts, so I've had to use a piece of threaded, it's just a piece of bar with 2 nuts on the end and then a couple just to hold that bracket in place. So I should be in a position now to actually get the lift in. Cover it with some towels or something, and I don't want this paint being damaged. But the engine is in the frame. I've now just got to get that onto that. So that's the next job for me. Right, so it's upright, the stand's ready. This is where the fun begins. That's the only problem when you're doing these things by yourself. That is definitely one heavy engine. Let's catch my breath and then I'll try and get the stand underneath. Right, so I've just loosely fitted that bracket and the spacer in the bracket the other side. The bolts, they're not the correct bolts, and the bolts the other side need cleaning up. Same with these ones. These need cleaning up. Everything seems to be in place. So it's actually only 3 brackets. 1, 2, 3. And that's the one I'm left over with. So obviously I did have more than I anticipated, but I am missing a load of bolts. There's a lot of bolts to get and go through some of the old ones and see if I can refurb. Just slid the rocker cover in, keeps the dust off. But oh boy, so nice to actually see the engine back in the frame. That is knowing, well, I've actually stripped that engine completely, rebuilt everything, cleaned everything, painted everything. So it's nice to finally see it starting to take shape. I'm just left with a mess on the bench at the moment, which is everything that's come off. So next episode I'll make sure that I've got the brackets, the bracket bolts, the correct ones, and cleaned. Obviously like the nuts and stuff, they need to be all cleaned. And then we'll start reassembling a lot of parts. Right, so thanks for joining me on that one. That was, I can't find the words, but it was quite stressful, quite painful in places. Especially when I dropped the engine down my leg, trying to get it off the bench. As I say, it is a heavy old lump, so I know that, as I say, when I get to the Z1000, depending how far I need to go down in that one, I may just do the bottom end crankcases on the bench and then move it to one of the stands, so it's easier to move around. But so pleased to finally get that engine actually in the frame painted. The engine's all painted. Words escape me, I'm so happy. I'm sorry it's taken such a long time to get to this stage. Unfortunately, as you see, I now have a bench of parts, but they can start going on as of the next episode. So as usual, any comments in the comments box below. I appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. I do try and reply to as many as I can. Also, a big thank you to all my patrons. I can't thank you enough for all the help and support you give me. It really means a lot. So big thank you to you guys out there that support me on Patreon. The donations you give me aren't wasted. It does go on all the supplies I need: rags, paint, sandpaper. You know, nothing goes. Everything's sort of penny pinched to. I get what I need: the buffing wheels and scouring pads, etc. But say, next episode we'll crack on. I should have the bolts cleaned and polished or replaced. We'll see how they go. I'm going to go through the list, see how many there are. I seem to be missing quite a few. And then we'll crack on with all these parts behind me and here and start reassembly. So again, thanks for watching. Join me again next time. Cheers. Bye.